Hello everyone, this is Cody Lee of BlackCatBooks.org, author of Cruel and Beautiful, Eye of the Dragon, and Rabbit Hole. Recently I've been playing a lot of Castlevania. I've been going through like Castlevania Bloodlines for the first time. I've been wanting to get into Castlevania 3 a little bit more, and I have been playing Order of Ecclessia. And with these three games out of the way, I basically have all like the relevant Castlevania games over and done with. Obviously, like there's a couple more that I want. Like Rondo of Blood is still not available on Nintendo consoles in the West for some reason. I still need to play like Castlevania 64, like both of those. I think there might be a couple more odds and ends. I think there's a PS2 game that I might consider trying, a 3D action one. But all in all, I think generally speaking, I have experienced everything this franchise has to offer. Order of Ecclesia is the end of it, and it is kind of a weird game. Not gonna lie to you. It feels kind of like odd in a lot of ways. For one thing, like the level design, it seems like a mix between classic Vania and Metroid-like Vania, where you have like these map screens, but you have like these long empty corridors of nothing but like enemies that you have to fight, and the enemies are like massively improved over previous games. Like the AI seems to be better. They have like a lot more attacks. There seems to be a lot more variety, but it feels like they didn't really do a lot of balancing all that much, because there were a lot of times during my playthrough of this where I kind of felt like I hit a brick wall just coming to a new area, so I had to like backtrack, get some new equipment, get some new glyphs, get some new stuff, and then like come back, only for it to happen again later. Especially near the end, like towards Dracula's castle, like every other like segment to this is just brutal. Like these bosses don't make any sense. Like you have like the shadow boss, where like you fight this guy who has this like massive shadow that you have to fight. And it does a ton of damage, and the way you beat it is like equipping a specific armor set that prevents like darkness from hurting you, which, from what I understand, is a thing that you would never need to use with any other boss in the game. Like I had to look it up, because like I was just getting demolished by this boss over and over and over again. Had to find like an equipment set to deal with it, and it was just a time waster. Like I'm currently on this boss, this giant centaur fucking thing. That's a gigantic, like it's legit, like probably the biggest boss I've ever fought in Castlevania. That has all these ridiculous phases to it. It has like 6 weak spots that you have to like destroy, like incrementally as you like try to climb this thing and get on its back. You have to like destroy its weapons. Like it has crossbows attached to it. This thing is brutal, right? I've been trying to beat it for like days now. Every time like I've been playing the game, I've been grinding to beat it, and I still haven't managed it. It doesn't feel like I'm losing because the boss is difficult. I'm losing because there's all these ridiculous aspects to the boss that you couldn't possibly have foreseen coming, and you need to have like ridiculously specific like equipment sets to like deal with it, right? For example, like the crossbows. They're on like the center of the monster, so you have to like get under it to reach them and like throw axes at it. I didn't have a good axe glyph, so I had to spend like about like 30 minutes like grinding for one, because like apparently the best axe glyph in the game is just kind of it's apparently a rare drop from this monster that I had to spend like a long time just grinding for. Once I got that, I destroyed the crossbows, go to the other side of the beast, and like you have to destroy like its back legs too. Like you have to destroy its front legs, like the glyphs on those things, and then go to the back and then destroy that, and then it bends down, and then you go up, you climb up on it, and then you have to deal with like the fucking tail of the thing just curling around and hitting you while you're on the back. Like you have to watch out for the neck. Like there's no indication of like what on this thing's body is like safe to step on. Like you're gonna get hit by certain things. You're gonna get stepped on. Like the way limbs move in this game, it's baffling to me because of the way the game works. Like, it doesn't give you enough range of movement to dodge. Like, every single time I see the attacks coming, right? I see the attacks coming, but, like, they do weird things where, like legs aren't static. Like, legs and arms aren't static, right? So they'll sort of, like, independently move of each other. So they look more like realistic, but what that ends up doing is that, like, you keep getting smacked around by, like, one leg being, like, in front of the other one. It's just it's ridiculous. Like, there's no place to, like, there's no way to avoid it. Like, there's no it just seems cheap rather than, like, actually genuinely difficult. There were a lot of moments like that. Like, early on where, like, you fight this boss in this elevator, in this tower, you have to, like, climb the thing. There's no indication that, like, what you're supposed to do is, like, get to the top of the tower and then drop the elevator on it. That's the only way you can kill it. Like, if the game presents it as if it's, like, it's an ordinary boss fight. And it took me a long time to figure out, like, what exactly I was supposed to do. It was, there are a lot of moments like this. Like, it's not intuitive. Like, the glyph system, like, it's taken me a while to figure out how to get, like, how the glyph system even works, because, like, I thought they were just random drops, right? Like, I thought, like, just randomly enemies would just drop glyphs, and then, like, it would sort of, like, work like the Aria of Sorrow system, where, like, you just use the glyphs that you pick up, but instead you get this situation where sometimes, like, enemies use glyphs while they're attacking, so you can actually steal glyphs from them. Like, one of the best glyphs in the game, Natisco, from these green skeletons in Dracula's castle that fires, like, the crotch lasers. If you played, like, Symphony of the Night, you should know what I'm talking about. Those things, if you try to take its glyph, you take it while it's attacking, while it's about to attack, and then you can just rip it from it and then just use it yourself. I had no idea you could do that until I looked it up. Like, the game didn't make it clear to me. And that's one of the best glyphs in the game, too, for the record. The stamina meter, like, there's so many times, like, it kind of works on, like, Dark Souls mechanics, where, like, when you attack, you sort of use up your energy gauge, but it doesn't really work all that well, because, like, what ends up happening is that you just end up gravitating towards glyphs that, like, don't use stamina. Like, I mentioned before that I used an axe glyph against this boss I'm fighting. The axe takes up a ton of stamina, right? So you typically wouldn't want to use it in general gameplay, but the Natisco doesn't, and it like does a lot more damage. It hits a lot more. It's a lot faster. So there's no reason why you wouldn't gravitate towards Natisco. Like, it's clear, it's obvious that, like, some glyphs are simply better than others, and as a result of that, like, you would never want to switch between them unless you absolutely have to. That's kind of what the bosses in this game seem like they're trying to do. Is that, like, they're trying to design them in a way in which you're, like, forced to, like, experiment with glyphs, and a lot of times, like, experimenting with glyphs in this isn't all that fun. It's not all that interesting. Like, you just kind of want to stick with, like, what you like doing, right? Like, early on, I just like using a sword. Like, I would just keep getting, like, the best swords, and for a good chunk of the game, like, that does work, right? Like, I would gravitate towards, like, lances occasionally, but for the most part, I would use use swords, and for the first part of it, up until Dracula's castle, that does work. But then suddenly you're hit with that Dracula castle ridiculous difficulty spike, and you kind of have to, like, start, like, incredibly, like, raising the bar when it comes to, like, you know, your character build and your equipment and things like that. It's just it's unbearable. I still haven't beaten the game. like it's a game. I legit think I've spent more time on Dracula's castle in this game than I think I have in, like, than I think I did in, like, any other part of it. It's kind of weird in that respect. Like, the game's, like, appeal is that you're supposed to be, like, going around, like, to explore, like, different locations, different areas. But, like, Dracula's castle, it's just kind of there, like you go there and it's a whole other ball game. It's ridiculous. Like it takes so much time. Like I think I was there like within like 4 hours, and now I'm at the 7 hour mark, and I still haven't beaten it because I'm like going around like doing side quests and stuff. Like personally, I've heard a lot of people say Order of Ecclesia is their favorite Castlevania, and I can kind of see why. There are certainly things to like about it, but me personally, I think I like Circle of the Moon more. I think I like Aria of Sorrow more. I think I might like Portrait of Ruin more. I'm gonna have to play that one next, because I haven't played that one legit in probably about at least 5 years, 6 years. That one's probably gonna be next, but Order of Ecclesia is a great game that's kind of marred by a lot of these nonsensical design decisions. It could have been great, like if they tweaked things a little bit, like maybe a sequel would have worked a lot more. But I certainly think there are a lot better Castlevania games out there. I think a lot of the new ideas in this one are interesting, but a lot of them aren't implemented all that well. Like if they ever made a direct sequel, I think they would have done great things with it. But as it stands, it's just like it's just a really solid game. It's well worth playing if you're a fan, but I personally think there are a lot better games in the series.